here in Hong Kong West Kowloon High-Speed Rail Station, part of the Chinese high-speed rail network. And we're going to be taking high-speed rail from here in Hong Kong into Shenzhen, just across the border to Futian Station. So it's just one stop, but hopefully I'm going to be able to tell you a little bit about what high-speed rail is like in China. But before getting to the station, here's a couple things you'll want to have on you. One, a passport, obviously, as well as, if you're from any one of these countries, a visa. I'm Canadian, and so I needed one. Next, you're going to have to consider how you're going to pay for things. China is a very cashless society, especially in the cities. So what you'll want to have is either WeChat Pay or Alipay. They don't accept foreign cards in almost anywhere, so again, you'll really need one of these. Alipay is really nice because it comes with a thing that you can use as a transit card, like a transit ticket automatically, which is like super nice because you don't have to use the machines. However, Alipay was kind of finicky for me for some other things because you do need to register your passport with both WeChat and Alipay if you want to use it, and it wasn't really working for me with Alipay, so I used WeChat Pay. These are the main things, but then also navigation. If you have a foreign SIM, assuming you do because you're a foreigner, Google Maps will still work for you. All of the things that don't work in China will work for you if you have a foreign SIM. But Google Maps is not regularly updated because there's no one in China using Google Maps. Google Maps is obviously crowdsourced. So Apple Maps does work pretty well. Otherwise, you might want to get Baidu Maps, but that's in Chinese. While Google Maps does exist, the satellite imagery also doesn't necessarily match the grid imagery. It will be helpful if you have some basic navigational knowledge yourself, or just have someone who has been to the area before. As you can see, we're here in the station. It's pretty big. It's not connected to any of the MTR stops, but it is a walkable distance from two of them. Well, at least that's what the MTR map shows. Austin is actually a much closer connection than Kowloon. In fact, on Google Maps, it shows them as right across the street from each other, and there's a pedestrian bridge connection between the two, as well as a tourist bus that goes around the area. Which does make it fairly accessible, although it was much faster for me to taxi here from Wan Chai than it was for me to take the transit, which would have been about double. Although I must specify, this is a quirk of exactly where I was in the transfers I needed. By no means is the station far from the city center. It's actually quite well located and is surrounded by a very strong urban fabric, so don't worry about that. So it's not too bad though, and honestly I would have taken transit if I didn't wake up too late. So I just went through, I think, customs and security, which was honestly really fast. I don't know if it's just because I'm traveling at a time that isn't super bad to travel at, but it was super easy, super quickly, and I had no problem with it. I think because I had a Canadian passport, I had to go through the human customs because they had robots as well. So I actually have to pass Chinese customs separately, which was also really easy. It was fully just automated. The gates, if you haven't been to Asia before, what they usually have is like gates. You put your passport in, you scan it, it opens, you go one in, and then it scans your face, and then you go through. It's really fast, really efficient. And now there's duty free. It's like at an airport. So far, the process has been quite nice. Right, I was somehow wrong again. There was 3 custom thingies. One was, I think, just checking your papers to make sure they're in order. 2 was, I presume, exiting Hong Kong customs. And then 3, and this was actually what I thought would be customs, was entering China customs, which does have space for a longer line. It wasn't too bad for me. It just took me like maybe 20 minutes. You have to fill out a little form that says some of your details. You line up, you go in, do a basic thing, and then you go through. All worked out for me. Just keep in mind, I had a visa. I already have a visa, multiple entries. So just keep that in mind. And I'm not going to talk about the visa process here. This is also humongous, Chad. This is actually so cool. But yeah, holy moly. Through that gate on the left. So I don't exactly know how the ticketing system works. I'm still confused, but everyone's been telling me, including the website I bought it from, that you just need to show them your passport, like the ID that you use to book the ticket with, which for a foreigner would be a passport. But if you're a Hong Konger or a Chinese citizen, I think you can use a mainland Chinese ID or a Hong Kong ID. So.
And they were announcing that all the countries that were there.
So here, one of the helpers just puts my passport into the machine. The machine scans my face, and it knows that because I registered my ticket under this passport, that it's me, and I can go in.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's a pretty bare bones train, which is completely fine. That makes sense considering how these were built for pretty cheap, especially by global standards. You can see there's just a basic tray table. And what's kind of funny is that the only thing in the pouch is a vomit bag. And as we start to move, I do think it's important to mention that the top speed that this train got to from Hong Kong West Kowloon to Futian Station was not total, like full high-speed speed. As you can see in these announcements that, like the banner announcements that come in both Chinese and in English, that the speed of this train maxed out around 188 to 190 kilometers per hour, which is still incredibly fast and much faster than any trains in Canada. And it still got me to my destination in just about 15 minutes, which, by the way, I did not take the train back. I took the bus back. It was much faster taking the train there and taking the bus back, which took me around an hour to do. So train is a very pleasant experience, quite nice. And I had someone come over to offer me refreshments during this train ride, which I had to pay. That was my first time using WeChat to pay. It was a cool experience, and honestly, it was good. I enjoyed it, and I would recommend using high-speed rail to cross the border from Hong Kong into Shenzhen. It was only like $9 American. Now, as this was a very short trip, I didn't have to use the bathroom, but I always look at the bathrooms in my high-speed rail videos. So here's the bathroom. It was very clean. It was very standard. It was good with buttons. One thing that I found very unique is that there were multiple cubicles in one car, which I've never seen before, and there was like a water filling station as well, which is quite interesting. I actually really like this part of it. As well, I really like this next part, which is the platform between doors. As you can see, because the train doesn't stop at the same spot every time, there's like a little gap between the doors and the train still. I actually found this a really intuitive and interesting solution. And overall, honestly, great experience. It's just, this is, Starbucks in China is truly a sight to see, I think. After an incredibly long hallway, you get overground into an incredibly quiet Shenzhen full of electric cars. That's the Ping An Finance Center. My end review of whether you should visit Shenzhen is honestly, it's different. You should visit it if you want to see something new. I personally prefer Hong Kong, but the cultural exchange I had here was amazing, and honestly, if you're an explorer, go there. Okay, so what do I mean by being an explorer? Well, I think the cultural exchange I had in Shenzhen can be very well summed up through this video.
你好，
你好。
来，你好，来，我是中国的，
我学的嘛。
你是哪里的？
澳大利亚的。
澳大利亚啊，好，新疆，就是一说 XL，
XL。
我来自 Canada。
啊，我来自中国。
OK，
好的给。啊，开心就好，就是说我们中国人就说开心就好，知道吧？
开心就好。
哎，对。啊，好，谢谢啊。
Thanks a lot.
So in the end, what are my thoughts? I think, what I expect, I had such expectations for like awe and wonder at, big technological advancements. But I've been on high-speed rail before in Morocco and in Europe, in Western Europe. So it's not necessarily that was awe. Honestly, the biggest thing is that it's functional. Same with the Shenzhen Metro. I mean, the Shenzhen Metro had not at all as good vibes as the MTR, but it worked, and that was lovely. Working infrastructure, even if it's bare bones, is quite nice. And I think we can take a page out of that book in that. Obviously, we need to maintain our labor laws and all of these things. But I think there's a lot of things that we could look at in the West in making transit cheaper, which actually looked at in a study that I will show on here. But yeah, that's something I think I can take away. Sorry that this video is so short, by the way. I just want to get something out, and a bunch of stuff happened last year that made posting really difficult. I mean, not anything crazy. I dropped my phone in the toilet and I lost all my footage from my Waterloo Ion video, so I'm like, okay, whatever. I know I spawned in Hong Kong, that's kind of crazy, but I'm just like, hear me out, okay? I just want to get something out, and hopefully I'll have a better upload schedule this year. But I keep saying that and nothing ever happens, but I don't know. Subscribe!